Good morning, students. Today we are going to start another very important and interesting chapter of unit reproduction, that is human reproduction. By this chapter, you will come to know more about your body. Human beings are usually viviparous, that means we give birth to the new young ones. The reproduction that takes place in human being is always by means of sexual method. Sexual reproduction is basically the reproduction which take place by the formation and fusion of gamete, and these gametes are male and female gamete. The gametes are usually developed in primary sex organ named testes and ovary. That means male gamete develop into testes and female gamete develop into ovaries. So first of all, we will study about the human male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of the following three important parts. Number one, primary sex organ, which is known as testes. Secondary or accessory sex organ, which includes accessory ducts and accessory glands. And third one is external genitalia, which is known as penis. First of all, we will study about the primary sex organ, that is testes. A pair of testes is situated outside the abdominal cavity in a sac of skin called the scrotum. Scrotum keeps the testes at the temperature 2 to 3 degrees lower than the internal body temperature, which is necessary for the synthesis of sperm by the process spermatogenesis. Each testis is oval in shape, measures about 4 to 5 cm in length and is 2 to 3 cm in width. The outermost covering of the testes is formed by a dense fibrous membrane called tunica albuginea. If testes do not descend into the scrotum, it leads to the sterility because normal body temperature is not essential for the production of sperm. The failure of the testes to descend down into scrotal sac is called cryptorchidism. Each testis has about 250 compartments called testicular lobules. Each lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled tubules known as seminiferous tubule in which sperms are produced. Each seminiferous tubule is lined on its inside by two highly specialized cells called male germ cell or spermatogonia and Sertoli cells. Spermatogonia undergoes meiotic cell division to produce sperm. Sertoli cell or nurse cells provide nutrition to the germ cell or spermatogonia. The region outside the seminiferous tubule contain masses of cell called interstitial cell or Leydig cells. Leydig cells synthesize and secrete the male hormone called androgen or testosterone, which maintain the male sex characteristic. Next, we will study about the secondary sex organ or the accessory sex organ, which include accessory duct system and accessory gland. So first of all, we will study about accessory duct system. The seminiferous tubule open into the vasa efferentia through rete testes. Several vasa of efferentia opens into the epididymis and carries sperm outside the testes. Epididymis is a long, coiled tube present along the posterior surface of each testis. It continues as the vasa deferens and ascend into the abdomen to loop over the urinary bladder. Epididymis temporarily store non-motile and immature sperms. The duct from the seminal vesicle and vasa deferens together form the ejaculatory duct. They pass through the prostate gland and join the urethra. They carry the secretion of seminal vesicle and sperm from the testes to the outside through urethra. Urethra originate from the urinary bladder and extend through the penis to its external opening called urethral meatus. It carries urine from the bladder and sperm from the vasa deferens through the penis. Next is the accessory glands. The accessory glands or secondary glands include a prostate gland, two seminal vesicle, and two bulbourethral glands. Prostate glands include the urethra and produces a milky secretion which form a considerable part of the semen. This secretion contains citric acid, lipids, and enzyme. Secretion of the prostate gland nourishes and activates the spermatozoa to swim. Seminal vesicles secrete mucus and a watery alkaline fluid that contain fructose, which provide energy to the sperm. Bulbourethral gland, or commonly known as Cooper's gland, are attached to the urethra below the prostate gland. They secrete mucus fluid for the lubrication of the penis. Next is the external genitalia, which is called as penis. It is the male copulatory organ having erectile tissue and vascular spaces. When the male is sexually excited, these spaces filled with blood, causing the penis to erect. The distal end of the penis is called glans penis. The glans penis is covered with a smooth skin called foreskin or purpose. Now we will study about the female reproductive system in detail. The female reproductive system consists of the following three parts. Number 1, primary sex organ, which include ovary. Secondary sex organ, which include accessory ducts like pair of oviducts or fallopian tube, uterus, cervix and vagina, and accessory glands like mammary glands. And third is the external genitalia, which is usually known as vulva. First of all, we will study about the primary sex organ or the female gonads known as ovaries. Ovaries are the primary female sex organ that produces the female gamete called ovum. It also produces several female steroid hormones. The ovaries are located in the lower abdomen. Each ovary is about 2 to 4 centimeters in length and connected to the pelvic wall and uterus by ligaments. Each ovary is almond-like flattened body. The outer region of the ovary is composed of developing follicles and the middle region form the stroma, which contain connective tissue, blood vessels and mature follicle. The stroma is divided into two regions, a peripheral cortex region and the inner medulla region. Next is the accessory ducts, which include oviduct or fallopian tube and uterus. So first of all, we will study about oviduct. These are two small tubes about 10 to 12 centimeters in length, lying on either side of the uterus near the kidney. The opening of the fallopian tube is expanded into a funnel shape infundibulum. The end of the infundibulum has a finger-like projection called fimbriae. They move closer to the ovaries at the time of ovulation to collect the ovum after ovulation. The infundibulum leads to a wider part of the oviduct called ampulla. Isthmus is the part of the oviduct having a narrow lumen which join the uterus. Next is uterus. It is a single, hollow, muscular, pear-shaped structure supported by ligaments and attached to the pelvic wall. It is present between the urinary bladder and the rectum. The lower part of the uterus is very narrow and is called cervix. The cavity of the cervix is called cervical canal. which forms the birth canal along with the vagina. The wall of the uterus has 3 layers of tissue. The outer is the perimetrium, middle is the myometrium, and inner is known as endometrium. Perimetrium is outermost thin covering of the uterus wall. Myometrium is present in the middle and it is made up of thick layer of smooth muscle fiber which contract strongly during the delivery of the baby. Endometrium forms the inner layer that contains glands and many blood vessels. It undergoes cyclic changes during the menstruation cycle after every 28 days in female. Mammary gland. Human female has a pair of mammary gland known as breast that contain glandular tissue and fatty tissue. Each glandular tissue is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes and each lobe consists of a group of alveoli. The alveoli open into the mammary tubules. The mammary tubules of each lobe open into small mammary duct. Several mammary ducts join to form a wider mammary ampulla that is connected to the lactiferous duct just before the nipple through which the milk is released. Next is external genitalia. The external genitalia of females are collectively called as vulva and consist of the following part: mons pubis, a cushion of fatty tissue covered with skin and pubic hair; labia majora, 2 folds of fatty tissue which extend down from the mons pubis and surround the vaginal opening are known as labia majora. Just inside the labia majora are the labia minora, which enclose the vestibule containing the tiny opening of the urethra and the large mouth of vagina. Hymen, a thin mucous membrane that covers the vaginal opening either partly or entirely, is known as hymen. The hymen often breaks during the time of first intercourse or during the sports activity like horse riding, cycling, or sudden fall or jolt, etc. Another term is clitoris. It is a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction of 2 labia minora above the urethral opening.